You are listening to the regular version of Sexy Marriage Radio. smrnation.com.
You've turned on Sexy Marriage Radio, where the best sex happens in the marriage bed. Here's your host, Dr. Corey Allen.
Welcome back to another episode of Sexy Marriage Radio, alongside my wife, Pam.
Fabulous to be here.
As always, we are going where the nation wants to go. And the way you can let us know where you want to go is 214-702-9565 is our voicemail line. That gets you to the front of the line. So if you call there and leave us a message, it's got to be less than 3 minutes. And I can even disguise your voice if you'd like. That allows you to get to the front of the line. We'll get to your questions sooner in the queue because we've got a lot of questions that have come in over the last few months. Yeah. We're still trying to get caught up, as is a lot of the world, it seems, in a lot of different things. Holidays can knock everybody back. Or you can email us, feedback@sexymarriageradio.com. And even there, if you want to do an audio of your voice and email it to us, we'll use it. And I can still alter that one, too. Technology's so great when it works.
Cool.
We also ask the nation to help us spread the word. Rate and review the show, leave comments on iTunes or however you choose to listen. Because we want to spread the word that married sex is the hotbed for sex, and it can just get better and better as the marriage goes on and on. Because this is just a good thing that separates marriage from everything else.
Right.
And another thing, we're going to personally invite everybody. This is a personal invitation for Pam and I. June 23rd through the 25th in 2022. Come to Indianapolis. Just get a ticket, get in the car, start driving, show up in Indianapolis, and come to the Sexy Marriage Radio Getaway.
It's going to be a great time.
It will. And this one we're going to do, this is, we've done this a bunch now. I've lost count. I don't know if it's 6 or 7 or 5 or 6 or, because COVID threw everything off.
I know, threw everything off anyway.
But this is one that we're shifting up the format a little bit. To where we're starting a little bit early on Thursday. Typically, we would start Thursday night. Now we're going to start in the afternoon, and we will be done Saturday evening.
Okay.
With a celebration, dance, hangout, social event. To where, but the difference is we're giving the couples that can come Sunday's yours to just get up, have breakfast, go tour the city, go have fun, relax, and then travel home later in the day, or stay the whole day and check out the city and each other more, or whatever you choose to do.
Come earlier in the week and check out the city before.
Do that as well, too. But what we're doing this time is not just all the content and not just all the time that you get to spend with your spouse, because this is kind of, we found that blend that's really beneficial. Because we start late in the morning. We're done, so the evenings are yours. We're also going to offer up a bunch of social events that are optional. If you want to join and meet other people in the nation, which, let's be honest, the other people in the nation are pretty cool.
They are. And it's funny because there's usually a split of people. There's a lot of people that want to get to know other people that are in this community, just to, create some connection. And then others, they do just take it, it's just going to be the two of us. I'm not interested in those things. So we thought it'd be a good mix to kind of offer a little both. One
of my favorite things from the past getaways is like this past year in 2021, one of the last nights, we went out to dinner, just you and I, just to kind of debrief and just sit and talk for a little while. And we're at a little restaurant that was in walking distance to the hotel. And as we're leaving, we look and there's a table of like 8 couples from the getaway, all just on this big, long,
chatting
away. So we joined them for like another hour.
It was so much
just
fun.
Laughing and telling stories. And that's what we want to try to help cultivate, is a chance that if you want to connect with other people, because let's face it, marriage is better when we realize we're not alone and we've got other people along with us, which is part of what the my.smrnation.com platform provides as well.
Right.
But this is what we'll hope you'll come. Right now, registration is open. The early bird getaway rate is available until April 15th, and then it will go up by $100. And so you can jump on board. There's payment plans available. But June 23rd to the 25th, come join us. You will be glad that you did.
Yeah.
Well, coming up on today's regular free version of Sexy Marriage Radio are a couple of your messages that have come in that we need to get to, and plus maybe one more. We'll just see. We have the best laid plans to let's cover like these three, and then we go deeper on one, and then we can't
There's
get
no
to all
time.
three. So again, like the world, we keep it flexible. So we're covering your questions in the regular version today. And then on the extended version of Sexy Marriage Radio today, which is deeper, longer, and there are no ads, you can subscribe at smrnation.com/SMR Academy. One of the buzzwords that's been going on in some of the different dialogues in the platform and then the dialogues that I come across in the profession is the world of trauma and how it impacts people. What do we as clinicians, what do we as authors or voices that are speaking into it, how do we address it better? And so we're going to unpack that idea and that concept as I see it and as I was trained by Schnarch, because again, he has a different take and a different approach slightly.
Okay.
And so it should be a fascinating conversation, I think. All that's coming up on today's show.
Hey, Corey, I wanted to ask you a question. We are in a great place now and come with a lot of work. And we're interested in learning more about the spiritual side of sex, or whether it's tantric sex or just something that's deeper. I know David Data would call it like stage 3 sex. And I know your mentor, David Schnarch, talks about, sex and spirituality. And I was just wondering what resources you might know of, or we can even open up to the listeners what has worked for them, but finding something that, moving something deeper, something more transcendent. Yeah, so I await your answer, but I know there's something more, and I'm not sure the next place to go. Thank you.
Well, this is one of those fun conversations, I think, because all too often we fall into the whole, just the functional side of sex.
Yeah.
Just the penis, vagina, bodies together, working toward a mutually agreed upon goal, hopefully. And that's it. It's pleasure. It's bodily, it's biological. And that's all it is.
Right.
And so he's asking the question of what about the other sides of the other aspects of it? And he's already mentioned too, David Data is a great one who's not a believer. He's going to be much more new age.
Right.
But I've read a bunch of his stuff. He's got tons of videos out there on YouTube as well, assuming nothing's changed when I was doing the deep dive on his rabbit trail 5 years ago. But he does talk about the different level, the stage 3s or the different aspects. And this is, if you're not familiar with what he's talking about with this idea, because you and I talked about it just right before the show, if tantric and spiritual are those the same thing. And I think you can look at it as the aspect of what's the meaning you attach to each word, because I kind of put them as the same. Spiritual isn't necessarily Christian. Spiritual is just that other realm of that connection between us.
Right. Beyond the physical body.
And it's interesting because as I was thinking through this, Gwyneth Paltrow has a series out on Netflix, I think it's called. It's Sex, Love, and Goop. I just lost the name. I think that's what it was. And where couples are just working with different professionals she's come across. And on one of them, she's talking about this aspect of wife is laying on a massage table and husband they both put their hands up way above her in the air and bring it down until they can kind of sense and feel the energy coming from her. And they were still like 1.5 feet from her before they felt something change. That's what's going on. That's what I think that's what he's alluding to, is there's an energy between us, that it's not just the physical sensations and touches. And so what are the resources? He's already mentioned one with David Data. Schnarch refers to this as well. He gets into the spiritual. He also has a whole concept in passionate marriage of wall socket sex is what he calls it. It's like you're tapping into another energy source.
Right.
Which is just never ending, which that's the beauty and the profoundness I love, is that's just an awareness of your presence and not just the sensations. That's a soaking in all of who you are. And then I did a quick little search. Rabbi Shmuley, that I came across him years ago because he has a book called Kosher Adultery. because he's taking a different
Interesting
slant.
title.
It is, but it's talking about having an affair with your spouse,
With your
basically.
spouse, yeah.
But he has courses out there on his website where he talks about the spiritual a lot because he's a rabbi. Mm-hmm. And so he's coming at it from that lens. And he talks about the idea, and he brings in the spiritual and the tantric and a lot of that too. So there's another resource to check out who I would trust in the sense of he's not going to take you way off the deep end, I wouldn't think. I would be a little more comfortable checking out his stuff. Then the thing he mentioned
How do you
too.
spell the name?
Shmuley.
Okay.
Shmuley.
Okay.
And he's good. I like the stuff I've read and come across from him before. It makes me think and like, that's a good way to think of that. Or it's challenging. And then there's some stuff like, as with every author out there, some of it absolutely, some of it, no, I don't agree with that. And then move along.
Right.
No need to go deeper than that. And then the one thing I will say, and we'll kind of throw this out here to Jessica because I know she'll listen to this right away. We'll throw it out there at my.smrnation.com. And we'll put a little section up there under the episodes tab. If you're a part of the conversations that are going on there, this is where the community can jump in and we can have what works for you. What have you found that helps? Or feedback sexymarriageradio.com and we can follow up on future shows.
Okay.
But then the last thing I will say, because this just is kind of everybody, and this is the stuff from Schnarch that I love the most, is one of the best ways to get into the deeper other realms of sex and move it beyond just the physical is open your eyes and connect with each other's eyes. Schnarch refers to this as eyes open sex and eyes open orgasm.
Right. There's some sort of light so you can see eyeballs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have it. You can do it intimately lit. You can do it with just the regular lighting, however it is that's unfolding. Could be in the daylight. But actually open your eyes and connect eye to eye. Because it brings about a different depth of meaning and a moment with each other because you see each other beyond just the physical form.
Right.
It's the aspect of eye-to-eye contact. It's the endearing feelings. There's a bond that comes from that.
Right.
And he did a study years ago and found that only like less than 20% of people open their eyes during sex. But even from within that, he postulated that those 20%, within that 20%, not all of them are doing eye to eye. One of them just has their eyes open, looking at the body, looking at the interactions and what's going on and connecting in that regard. But a lot of times people will close their eyes to kind of focus on their own sensations in their own world or to disconnect and fantasize about something else to get the job done. Or
or it's to fantasize to get their mind in the game. And then if they open their eyes, their mind gets off the game, right? And so they're just trying to focus. But you can see where when I have eye-to-eye connection with someone, it can create an uncomfortableness. But when you can drive through that uncomfortableness, the connection, amazing.
Yep. And so that's what I would say to start with, to add to what he's asking. And then we throw it over to the rest of the nation to what are we missing?
Hi. I just wanted to call in. I love your show, and I'm grateful for, all the time and effort you put into each episode. I just wanted to call. I haven't heard anything so much about this on any of the episodes that I've listened to, but I have been married for almost 11 years, and we have 4 beautiful children. My husband and I, we've been through a lot. We've both made mistakes in our marriage, and we've forgiven each other, and overall, we have a very strong and healthy marriage. We are playful together and have fun. We're spiritually connected, and when we do have sex, it can be a very beautiful and emotional experience for us both. The problem is that I just don't enjoy, I wouldn't say I don't enjoy, but I don't find the importance in having sex often. I think that when something's special, the more that it happens or the more you're used to it, it becomes less special. And I'm just not wired to want sex all the time. And so, I just find it to be more special, and it's more of a beautiful experience when it's more rare. Obviously, my husband is a higher desire. I'm the lower desire in that. And I don't necessarily want to change that. I feel like, you know, this is my body, and why should I have to change what I do with my body just to please someone else's body, I guess. I feel like sex is obviously a choice, and my husband never forces me into anything, but I don't feel like I should have to do something I don't want to do with my body, something that's so invasive. You know, as a man is penetrating a woman who's physically, like, going inside of you, it's a very intrusive situation to be in, and I just don't feel like a woman should have to do that just because she's supposed to have sex. And I know that's like a really hard way to come at it, but I guess I'm just confused. I don't necessarily want to change because I feel like sex is a beautiful thing and it's special and it should be saved for those special occasions, not just, you know, a quickie 3-4 times a week. It makes it not very special. So I would just love any insight on that. I know that's a really loaded question, but I hope that you can make something out of it. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Yes, this is a loaded question.
It is loaded in lots of ways. In lots of ways. I mean, you made reference to, well, we'll get into some of that later. It is special, though.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Sex is special. And when I came into this, I'll speak personally, when I came into this marriage, I knew this was going to be something special that only happens between my husband and I. It wasn't going to go anywhere else. It's an interesting phraseology on saying that it should be saved for special occasions. You know, I'm curious, are we saying that it's only saved for an anniversary? And
yeah. So let's unpack the word special real quick because there's several different things. I think we have to challenge meanings in this just to help frame it better. Because special, way I hear it, scarcity is what brings about specialty.
That's what this sounds like. Right. Scarcity is special. Yes. And
then that then makes me wonder, okay, is there more of a scarcity mindset in general? Or is there an abundance mindset? Right? Because I think I love boiling, you know this full well, Pam. I love boiling things down into two choices because it just makes things a whole lot easier. If we can get down to the crux of it's this or it's this.
Right.
And if you come at the world with a scarcity mindset, then we have to cling to things a little bit more and we have to hold on to them differently because there's not enough of them. And so there's a uniqueness to it and a specialness or
don't waste anything.
Right. Versus how do you challenge that mindset of does it have to be limited and rare to make it special? Or what about the other aspects of what goes on that does bring about the connection and the depth and the fun and the playful and the bond that she described they have in the other aspects of their marriage? How does that equate to what goes on in their sex life? Right?
Yeah.
How do you look at it through the lens of does specialness is it only reserved for the rare?
And I look at this and I think a definition of special in this situation can be, well, this is such a special event because it's only between the two of us.
Right. So if you can make it a little more global.
You and I can
not
do
just
this
the
anytime.
moments.
It's special because, oh my gosh, how can we do this hidden and secret when the kids are around? How can we... I don't know. Well, anyway.
So you make the moments special, not just the act itself special. Okay.
Yeah, not just the act, but we can't change her mind into what her definition of special is.
Absolutely. That's why I want to at least ask the questions of how does that word, what's the meaning you attach to it and how you then apply it to aspects, because not apples to apples, but I've had an element of there's different things we've owned or done in our life that I don't want to use them up. And
Okay.
so I get real reserved on, no, I don't want to use that. And this is my own thinking. I don't bring this out in the open to you. This is my own weird little world.
Yeah.
And what I've tried to do is challenge that thought processes in my mind to start to see it more in the sense of, no, let's use all of it. I bought this thing to use. Let's drive it into the ground till
Right.
it falls apart because it's been used so much. Because that's why we have it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just, I have to flip that because there's this element of, oh no, I want to preserve it and make sure it lasts and make sure. Well, I think we can do that in a lot of aspects of our life, and maybe there's an aspect of sex that could apply of like, because we do have variances in us as people of, if each time doesn't reach a certain standard, does it diminish the feeling I associate with it, which is kind of what I'm hearing from her. The quickies 3 or 4 times a week, which that's a lot compared to what average
It is a lot.
sexual encounters
Yeah.
are for couples that are married. But it's still, does it diminish it? Well, it sounds like it does to her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then we have to pivot this to the two-choice dilemma of, she wants sex on her terms, which is defined by when she deems it's special, not her husband's terms. Yet, she still wants a vibrant marriage.
Right.
There's the dilemma. Because what she's asking is, it's my body. Why do I have to change for the sake of what someone else wants when that's in fact exactly what she's asking her husband to do
Right.
with the stance she's taking?
Right.
That's the dilemma of marriage.
Right.
And I'm not going to say either one of you are right or wrong. That's just the dilemma that happens in marriage.
Right.
I want what I want. And by me saying that, I put you in a quandary because now you have to face what you want. And it's usually counter at times or altered slightly from what I want.
Right.
And so there's the struggle. And the way I think the way you get through this is you ask these questions of, okay, what is it that actually makes this moment or these moments special? What does that mean?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Is it the occasions?
Well, is it the occasions? Is it, from my perspective, the specialness is the connection. Like if we've gone longer than usual without having sex, I notice a difference in our relationship. And it's not because one of us is shunning the other or mad at the other. It's just we haven't taken that time to just be us and have that connection
Right.
together. And to me, that's what makes that special. And I can see that just in the way I feel in the dynamic between us, right?
Right.
And so to me, what makes it special is getting to get together and have that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Even it doesn't have to be long and drawn out. It doesn't have to be, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, but we see each other.
Right.
And we know that we're there and want each other and want to take the time for each other. That's the piece to me that makes it special.
Okay.
It doesn't, if I'm just saying that a birthday sex is what's special or Christmas sex is what's special, that's about some event. It's not about my marriage, and it's not about my wanting to be connected to you as my spouse.
Right.
So I'd love to hear this definition of special.
Absolutely. Then we have to also add a component to this of her comment of, it's pretty invasive. A man penetrating a woman.
Sure it is.
And
sure
so
it is.
women, in my history of working in the field now, women have a variety of different definitions of what that means. Some are
Of what invasive
of,
means?
of what
or-
being penetrated means.
Okay,
Because
okay.
there's sometimes, based on a woman's upbringing or abuse that has happened in their life or being taken advantage of, where they were powerless in some regards as children or teenagers, that dramatically alters that event.
Sure.
That it's not a inviting to be penetrated, it's a being violated. There's a different distinction with each of those words.
Yes, there is.
Right. And so it's recognizing that, what does that mean? And I'm not going to jump to does she have some trauma in her background or what? But I think it's worth at least bringing up the topic for other people that are listening and for her of what does that mean?
Right.
Inviting somebody in versus somebody invading.
Right.
Two different things.
Right.
And so this is one of those recognizing the power inherent in the sex act for a woman to invite to receive that penetration is a different framework rather than I'm being invaded. And so again, this is where it's asking the questions of what do these words mean? What do the terms mean? How do I make sense of them? And do I need to deal with some stuff from the past or deal with some stuff from the future, the present that, okay, I need to challenge. What does this really mean? Because I think that's how we both, husband and wife, learn the dynamic of our journey together better. Whew, I need to breathe a little bit after the extended content.
Get another cup of coffee.
I might need to, absolutely. Recording this in the morning, as we're recording it, it's like, wow, that's a heavy way to start a day.
Right?
It's to unpack some of the different aspects of us as people.
Yeah.
But the thing I love the most, I think, about Sexy Marriage Radio and the Nation, babe, is the fact that they speak up and they ask the tough ones and they bring up the tough topics. This isn't just 5 steps to satisfy your partner in bed regularly.
No.
It's not let's go to the deeper aspects of life, because that's where life really takes place.
Right.
And that's where we all need to learn to confront what are the meanings I've attached to them? What's the landscape and how I view the aspect? Because special, does that mean rare? Or can that be applied to a whole lot more? But I will say one of the things that is special is the Sexy Marriage Radio Getaway. Let's just end it right there. Because
it's so much fun.
It is so much fun. And it only comes around once a year. So
right?
if you think they're special, getaway sex.
There you go.
Come on now.
There you go.
This has been Sexy Marriage Radio. We're so glad you take some time out of your week each and every day, each and every week. You know how I'm going with this. We're so glad you spent the time with us. It was easy for me to say. So if we left something undone, let us know. 214-702-9565 or feedback at sexymarriageradio.com. We'll see you next time.